All right, guys, so I'm going to make a little video here on analyzing sine or cosine functions, specifically for graphing. So I have an example here, and on our worksheet, we said we're going to have one of two forms, either an equation y equals a sine b x minus h plus k, or pretty much the same thing for cosine. So in these forms, we've got a couple things going on. This first coefficient, if we have any, is going to be the amplitude. So when they ask for amplitude, we just take the number out front, and I went ahead and wrote what it is for this one, but in general, it will just be A. Next, we usually will find the period of the function. And for that, we're going to use this second variable, which is B. And there's one or two ways you can find it. You could either take 2 pi and divide it by that letter B, or that's the same thing as multiplying 1 over B times 2 pi. The horizontal shift is going to be found right here with H, and you can kind of think like H for horizontal. So this, it would be a shift of H to the right. Now notice the sign here is minus, so you always have to switch the sign of whatever your equation is. So we'll do that one over there, but I'm just going to say horizontal shift equals H, and the vertical shift is going to be all the way on the outside, K. And I'm actually going to change this H to a negative because it's always the opposite sign of what they have in the equation. So let's try it out with this one. So first thing we want is amplitude. There's not a coefficient out here, but if there's not anything, we assume it's 1. So the amplitude for this graph, and that's how high or low it goes, is 1. The period, remember, we find over here by doing 2 pi over b. So the b value here is 2. So I will do 2 pi divided by 2. And when we simplify the 2's, we just get pi. So that's the answer for the period. The horizontal shift is h, and we switch that sign in here. So this would be negative, screen's scrolling everywhere. So my horizontal shift, we could write here negative pi. Really what that means is that we're moving in the negative direction. So we would move our graph to the left pi units. And we've been scaling our x-axis using pi. So that should work out. And the last thing, the vertical shift, we've also called this the midline, is this last number on here. So our vertical shift would be -1. And for us, that would mean our graph is moving down 1 unit. So an example of doing some analysis of sine cosines, you guys can try out the other practice problems we have.